Hello, good morning, friends. Welcome to my channel Spiritual Territory. This video is about the three different kinds of realizations in the spirituality. There are three kinds of spiritual realizations, uh, which are namely, the first one is the Brahman realization, the second one is the Paramatman realization, and the third one is Bhagavan realization. So, like this, the spiritual realizations are divided into three categories, like the Brahman realization, the Paramatman realization, and the Bhagavan realization. So, like this, there are three different kinds of realizations in the spiritual platform, and different kinds of spiritual practitioners according to their modes of the according to the different levels of the devotion, different levels of their devotion. They uh, they approach different paths of spiritual realization. Some approach the Brahman realization, some approach the Paramatman realization, and the and uh, rarely people choose to take the path of Bhagavan realization, which is actually the very simplest path or the direct path to God realization. So, all the three platforms of spiritual realizations are actually made for the mankind, so that however one can connect to the spirituality. I mean, howsoever people will come towards the God, or they will come in contact with the Supreme. So, like this, there are three different kinds of spiritual realizations: the Brahman realization, the Paramatman realization, and the Bhagavan realization. So now let us let's see what is the uh, what are the results of these three different kinds of spiritual realizations. So, the first realization, or the Brahman realization, which actually says that it is followed by the Mayavadi sect, or those sect, or that sect or the cult which actually believes that God is impersonal light, or God is just a formless being. So those who believe that God is just a formless being, and the ultimate goal of this human life is only to go and get dissolved inside that formless light, or the impersonal light that is being emanating from the spiritual sky. I mean, the spiritual world of the Supreme Lord Krishna, that impersonal light, or the effulgence of the spiritual world, which is emanating from the spiritual world, that impersonal light, to go inside that spiritual impersonal light, and dissolve in that impersonal light forever, or for the eternal period of the time, is that is actually the target of the impersonalists or the Mayavadis. They actually uh, practice this whole process of spirituality, or the this path of spirituality regarding this impersonalism, or the or their or they dedicate their whole life only to get dissolved in this impersonal light. So in this impersonal so in this process of realization of this of the or in this sect of the impersonalism, or the Brahman realization, the main defect or the main disadvantage is that there is no fulfillment of the soul, or there is no satisfaction for the soul, because there will be always one kind of uh, insufficiency, or there is one kind of always one one kind of hankering of the senses for the joy, because there is no joy in just going and just getting dissolved in that impersonal light of the God. So many people often ask this question also, that after doing so much of sacrifices, or after giving up so much of pleasures and joys in our life, after giving up all the modes of happiness, after sacrificing everything, if only we get that impersonal light, or is just going to the spiritual world, or just going to the or just after giving up the body, if we go and just get dissolved in that impersonal light, and if there is no activity in that impersonal light, or Brahmajyoti, that effulgence of the God. So what is the use of such a hard, or what is the use of doing so much sacrifices, and what is the use of taking up this path of spirituality when there is no joy after the death of the living entity? So like this, many people often ask the question. So the main thing is that in this process of spirituality, actually God doesn't ask us to give up, or he doesn't ask to sacrifice everything in our lives, leave everything and just do a dry penance, or just do a dry austerity without any kind of love or joy, or without any activity. God doesn't put any kind of such conditions in our lives. Actually, we human beings, out of our ignorance, we don't know what to choose, or we are under or due to the lack of the guidance in our lives, we actually choose to take such a dry paths in our lives, like this Brahman realization, or the path of the impersonalists or Mayavadis. We often fall the victims of such a path, and we just do a dry penance, is just spend a very dry and a joyless lives, and we just destroy or spoil our time, and we just become the victims of all these kinds of become the victims of the acute pain or suffering. So therefore there is no need to take the path of this impersonalist, or we there is no necessity or compulsory to take this path of Brahman realization, or this or the path of impersonalists. It is just it is just one one primary stage for the conditioned souls to just by step. First, if first people come in this path of Brahman realization by giving up their arrogance of this material contamination, or this material or the tendency to laud this material nature. They give up the arrogance and choose the Brahman realization path, and slowly after realizing that the material world is not everything, they slowly try to understand about the dual nature of the material world, and they realize that the spirit soul and the super soul is different, and they choose to take the Paramatman realization, or they realize that there is somebody inside the living entity, that only there is no only living entity doesn't exist in this creation. Along with the living entity, there is also the existence of the super soul in this creation. So like this, the after the stage of Brahman realization, people come to the secondary realization of the spiritual path, that is the Paramatman realization, or the realization of the super soul. And after the and last and finally, people come to realize that God is actually the person himself. He himself is one supreme person. And the second realization, which is actually the Paramatman realization, regarding this realization, the point is that there are mainly, according to Mundaka Upanishad, it has been said in Mundaka Upanishad that in the tree known as this living entity, upon the branch of this heart, there are mainly two birds sitting and consuming fruits. Uh, sorry, there are mainly two birds sitting on the branch of the heart within this tree uh, named as the living entity. So one one bird is the ordinary living entity, and the other bird is the super soul. So the bird known as this living entity uh, is busy consuming the good and bad fruits which are growing on this on the heart of the this tree, this uh, this this tree of this living entity, I mean the branch of the heart. So when this bird, I mean the living entity, is absorbed or busy in consuming the good and bad fruits of this of the past, of the past karmic reactions, the super soul, or the bird, no, the super soul, the bird of the super soul, which is actually sitting just beside this living entity, the bird of the living entity, is uh, is just warning the ordinary living entity that, my dear bird, you are doing a big mistake, you are eating the bad fruits. So when this bird is consuming the bad fruit, this this super soul is guiding it in the to approach the right path. Constantly it is warning the living entity to to give up this bad fruits and choose the right fruits, or to choose the right path, or to do the good actions in the life. So therefore we can see that whenever we do something bad, there comes one guilty consciousness or the guilty feeling inside us. So this guilty feeling is actually the voice of the inner super soul, which actually constantly says us to choose the right path in our lives, or to consume the good fruits by doing the good actions in our lives. So uh, this is actually the voice of the super soul, which comes inside from our heart, the guilty feeling inside us when we do the bad things in our lives. The guilty feeling, or the feeling of the regret after doing something bad, these all are the just the symptoms of the voice, the inner voice coming from the heart, the voice of the super soul. So this is the proof of the existence of the super soul inside our heart, the guilty feeling, when the guilty feeling comes inside us. So like this, upon the tree, the called living entity, the in the branch of the heart, there are two birds sitting. One is living entity and the other is super soul. When the living entity is consuming the good and bad fruits, the when it is consuming, in case of consuming the bad fruits, the super soul is warning it to not consume it, or to give up the consumption of the bad fruits, and to take the or to eat the good fruits, or to approach the good path. So when the living entity is doing the good things, or when it is choosing the good path, that joy of encouragement, or the joy of victory coming inside from the coming from the heart, that is also the voice of the super soul only. That super soul from within the heart actually is appreciating the living entity, the ordinary living entity, the bird, which is consuming the which is absorbed in consuming the fruits in this on the upon the sitting upon the tree or the branch of this tree, this mundane tree of this the body, the this material body. So like this is actually the relationship between the two different birds, the one, the super soul, and the ordinary living entity. That the super soul is always sitting beside us to guide us, to to guide us, just like the ordinary GPS. The the GPS actually, the which actually guides the route when we travel, or when we do the journey in the in on the road through the vehicle, either by car, or by any kind of four wheeler. So like this, the supreme lord plays the role of the supreme GPS inside our heart. So this is the second realization, the realization of the super soul, that that super soul always sitting within our heart, or within the heart of all the other living entities, is ready to guide us, is always ready to is always constantly guiding us, the ordinary living entity in this material world, when we are fallen from this spiritual world, in this dark material world. So this is the second realization, or the Paramatman realization of the, or the realization of the super soul. So what is the result of this realization? That when we know that super soul, or that Lord Vishnu, the uh, four armed uh, entity, or the four-armed person, I mean the four-armed Lord Vishnu, sitting inside the heart of every living entity. uh, so the practitioners, the spiritual practitioners or disciples who approach the path of Paramatma realization, they try to approach the Vaikuntha, or the world of the Supreme Lord Vishnu. So they go there, they approach the impersonal Vishnu. So why the Supreme Lord Vishnu is also denoted as impersonal? Because uh, Lord Vishnu also don't contain all the 64 qualities which are present in Lord Krishna. So in Lord Vishnu also there are either two or one quality less as compared to the Lord Krishna. So the Lord Krishna and Lord Vishnu are not different, but they are different expansions. Lord Krishna only expand himself as Lord Vishnu, and he bestows the mellows that are demanded by the devotees of Lord Vishnu. That the devotees of Lord Vishnu always their their approach to the God, or their belief uh, to serve the God, or their mode of serving the God is different from the mode of serving Lord Krishna. So the Lord of the Krishna's devotees, or the Lord Krishna's devotees are completely absorbed in the lovable service, the unconditional lovable service of the Supreme Lord. But the devotees of Lord Vishnu, uh, they are absorbed in the dasya bhava, or the mellow of service. It is just a service, like we see in this material world, the service of the employee towards the his master. So like this in the spiritual world, I mean in the Vaikuntha planets, the the entities, the living entities actually treat the Supreme Lord like a master, like he is one master, and they are just like a servants. So this is actually the condition of the Vaikuntha, or the domain of the Lord Vishnu. So this is this actually, there is little bit incompleteness in this world also. It is not a perfect path, it is not a complete path of realization. So there is also one some lackings, or there are some uh, defects. So therefore the Vaishnavas, or the ultimate Krishna devotees, they actually choose that direct or simplest path to just accept that the all loving father is that the Supreme Lord Krishna only, and they approach directly the planet of the Supreme Lord Krishna, that is actually the Goloka Vrindavana. So like this the ultimate spiritual practitioners, or the true practitioners of the spirituality, take the path of this God realization, or the Bhagavan realization, and they approach the, or and they become, and they try to become the part of the divine play, or the divine abode of the Supreme Lord Krishna. So that this is the state of the second realization, I mean the Paramatman realization. So after realizing that God is one supreme being, or he is one person like us, we try to engage ourselves in the uh, in his pastimes, or we or naturally the living entity, or the conditioned soul, tries to tries to approach the path of the Bhagavan realization, or the path which actually follows the nine modes of devotional service. The that is actually, that involves the chanting, hearing, reading, talking, and literally doing all those activities which are related to the unconditional love, or the unconditional lovable service of the Supreme Lord Krishna. So when we try to uh, so when the conditioned soul uh, engages in the devotional path of the God, uh, to seek the ultimate, or the to seek the path of the Bhagavan realization, then he becomes free from all the bondages, or the mundane material bondages, and he uh, and he gets and he becomes the part of the supreme divine nature, or the or the part of the spiritual world, the ultimate abode of the god, or the abode of Lord Krishna, which is actually the Gokula or Goloka Vrindavana, where the god is consciously performing all his divine activities for the eternal period of time. So uh, when the conditioned soul participates in that divine play, or or when he participates himself in to become the part of that divine spiritual world, where god is constantly doing or performing all his divine activities with his eternal devotees, or the eternal associates in the spiritual world, then our lives actually become successful. So like this, there are three different kinds of realizations which are made for the mankind to step by step uh, to step by step uh, uh, get advance, for the conditioned soul uh, to step by step grow in this path of devotion, or in this path of spiritual realization. So like this, there are three different kinds of spiritual realizations. And last and finally, in this mode of bhakti yoga, or the devotional service, the unconditional devotional love, or the unconditional devotion for the supreme lord Krishna, the main enemies are the mundane materialistic sensual pleasures, or the sensual objects, and along with that our attachments, or the relatives, or our blood relations, whoever the people who are actually attached to us in our lives. So they all actually play the role as they actually come under the representatives of this illusionary energy of these three modes of material nature only, because they always try to pull us down from this path of the spiritual realization, or our spiritual heights. They always try to drag us down only. So therefore we have to always hanker, or we always have to keep on praying to the supreme lord Krishna, that, oh my dear lord, please give birth to that unconditional love in my heart for you, that I should 24 hours engage myself in just contemplating upon your divine activities, your divine pastimes, and I must always keep myself, my soul, attached to you. I must not get attracted, or I must not get attached to any of the new kinds of sensual objects, or I must always keep on growing in living everything which is which have unnecessarily got attached in my life, like these essential objects in our past, or like these unnecessary blood relations which are becoming the obstacles, or the hurdles in our spiritual path, in the growth of our spiritual in the growth of in in our spiritual growth, or in the realization of this in the path of the god realization. So like this, we have to constantly pray the supreme lord Krishna, that please give us that unconditional love, like the eternal devotees, how the eternal devotees in your spiritual abode constantly engage themselves in your lovable service, in the unconditional devotional relationship with you. So like this, please, uh, you kindly bestow that that divine grace upon us, upon the fallen souls like us. Please keep us blessing us with your divine grace, my dear lord. Like this, we have to keep on praying, then only we can honestly become the part of the divine play, or we can reach that the ultimate goal of our life. Until and unless there will be always the dangers, there will be always danger in this material world, keep on waiting for us to to devour our happiness, there will be always that kind of cruel attempts. There will be always that kind of dangers from all the four sides of this material world. In our house or outside the house, everywhere there are just pollutants or contaminate. There is always contaminations keep on spreading like a wildfire in this material world. So therefore 24 hours, every time we need that supreme security of the supreme lord krishna. We always we have to always seek that supreme protection upon us by keeping ourselves engaged in his devotional service, uh, by associating with the devotees, by keeping on seeing or listening to the lectures of the great souls. So therefore, like this, we have to always keep ourselves engaged in the devotional activities, and we should become uh, free from this material world, and we should go back to the godhead. Thank you.